That was Jessica Stone reporting. Joining us now is the man himself, Jack Abramoff, once considered the most powerful lobbyist in the United States. He is now an advocate for reform in lobbying and a senior fellow at United Republic, a group that campaigns to get corporate money and corruption out of the government. I want to welcome you to The Heat. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't we start there? Howard Marlowe has a couple of things to say about you. I think it would only be fair to give you a chance to respond. He says you were the worst thing going for lobbying when you were lobbying. Now you're the worst thing going for lobbying and you're not lobbying.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I'm the worst thing going for certain kinds of lobbying at this point. And the group he heads is taking their time to attack, and frankly is just helping the efforts of myself and the other reform groups to go and dig in and try to get things changed.
One of the things, I think it was in a 60 Minutes interview, you said, I had 100 congressmen or lawmakers in my pocket. We owned them. Did you really say that? And did you really feel that way?
Well, I wrote that pretty much in the book. I think Leslie Stahl kind of extrapolated to the owning part. But yeah, we had immense control over a lot of members of Congress through raising money for them, through personal relationships, by being politically indispensable for them. And that's what big lobbyists do.
Are some of those congressmen still there on
yeah,
Capitol Hill?
Sure, some are still there.
So who are they?
Well, Harry Reid is one of them.
So he was in your pocket, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't personally have relations with him because I was a Republican and he was a Democrat, but I had Democrats who worked for me, including people who used to work for him.
So are you saying he's corrupt?
Well, in a certain respect, yeah, I am. But I think that what's important to know is that a lobbying organization, a powerful lobbying force, has immense influence with the Congress because that's who they have to lobby. Their entire job is to try to change laws or prevent laws or pass laws, and so to do that you need to be close to the Congress. So therefore any big lobbying firm is going to be close to at least that many members of Congress.
So Harry Reid's one. Any others?
Well, I go through in my book a few, but you know, what I've tried to avoid doing is wind up giving a litany of names because what I'm trying to do now is change the system, help change the system that I participated in. I came over time to realize that it was not helpful to the country and it's not really moral and good, and so I'm working very hard to change the system. When people focus on individuals and make somebody out to be the bad guy, as people did with me, and rightfully so, by the way.
But let me stop you there,
yeah.
Because isn't that obstruction of justice in a sense? I mean, as an American citizen,
don't we? I have to tell you, I participated in 2,000 investigations.
Let me finish.
All right.
As an American citizen, don't you owe it to us, if you're really going to reform things, to name names?
No,
Tell us who these people are.
I participated in 2,000 investigations in the Justice Department. They went after those who broke the law, people who were not found guilty by them, or at least not indicted by them. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing for me to be out attacking people willy-nilly. If I could prove something, I put it in my book. If I could prove something, frankly, they were indicted or pled. Over 20 people did so in my case. But
so
if you
can't prove it, then should you be saying that I owned 100 politicians?
Well, what I was doing is I was trying to give an example. The context of that comment was in the story of how we used to hire people from Capitol Hill, and then once we made a job offer, even though every job offer I presented we were good about and we were going to hire them, once I made a job offer, I noticed that that office became all of a sudden really working for us.
Has things changed since you went off to prison? Is it still as corrupt? And is it bribery? Is it legalized bribery? How would you describe it?
Well, I think I would never have characterized it as bribery in the old days. I didn't think I was involved in bribery. But over 8 years, frankly, of thinking about this, I think it is. And I'll tell you why I think it is. Lobbyists and their clients are trying to get something out of the federal government. If you went to a judge before the trial who you're trying to get something from, you're trying to get a good verdict from, and gave them tickets to a football game, that everybody gets that's bribery. So going to a congressman and giving them a contribution or giving them tickets to that football game, in this town that's not considered bribery. The truth is, it really is.
If you had gone off to jail for robbing a bank, stealing money, people would ask, where'd you bury the money? So where's the money? I mean, you made a ton of money.
I did. I mean, all of the expenditures I had became very public as they went through, but first the Senate and then the Justice Department and then the media. All of my 850,000 emails, they saw where all my money went. My wife and I gave about 80% of it to charity and to community causes. We did keep approximately 20%. We lived okay. I made a lot of money, but we wound up giving most of it away during the time I was making it.
You mentioned the emails. Of course, the emails that you had came out were very public. A lot of disparaging comments that you made about your own clients. As you look back on that, Talk to me about your mindset. Obviously, most people when they send emails don't think it's going to go public, but when it did, how did you feel about that? And then has there been some time to do some soul searching and say to yourself, geez, I was taking millions from these people and then I'm talking terribly about them?
Well, I think, first of all, obviously I regret anything that I did was untoward or improper or wrong, and then among them that. I think what happened was I sent 850,000 emails. The Senate committee pulled 50 emails on various topics that were, a little salacious perhaps, including some boneheaded emails where I was very vociferous about my relations with my clients. Clients, by the way, that I loved. Nobody looked at the other 849,000 emails. They looked at those few emails. And they tried to basically create an impression that I disdained my clients. I didn't. I also sent emails, by the way, to my wife about my kids sometimes, calling them boneheads and idiots and things like that, when they did things I thought were wrong too. It was inappropriate, it was wrong, I regret it. And I've apologized certainly to those that I sent those emails about and to. I can't unring the bell, but it has to be seen in a context. I didn't disdain them, frankly, during the course of time that I worked for them. While we charged them north of about $80 million in fees, we added up that we benefited them to the tune of about $6.8 billion. So in terms of doing the job for them, we were definitely there. Unfortunately, I was stupid as far as some of the emails.
Now, they are talking about reparations. You've been ordered to somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million.
Right.
How are you going to come up with that money for the folks that are waiting for their money?
Well, I was hoping the show would pay a lot more money than it has now.
It's not paying nothing.
I know.
Sorry, you've got a long way to go with us.
No, look, I'm going to do my best to earn money. I'm creative, and hopefully we'll be able to put my brain to work to come up with some businesses. I am working on doing that. I don't know if I can come up with $44 million over time. I'm going to try. But I'll do my best. That's all I can do.
Let me, I want to throw a quote out at you. You served 4 years in prison. J. St. Goddard, who's a tribal leader, said if he was an Indian, he'd still be in jail. Instead, he's allowed to write a book, get rich and famous. What does that say about our system? So I'm going to ask you, what does it say about our system?
Well, first of all, I'm not getting rich. I have a $44 million restitution order ahead of me. And even if my book was the Bible or written by the fellow who wrote the Da Vinci Code, I wouldn't make enough money to pay off the restitution order. I'm allowed to have a certain small amount of money to live off of, but I'm not getting